Hey guys, happy Christmas Eve. I have been wanting to do this video for a really long time, and I thought Christmas Eve was gonna be the perfect time to do it because I know if you guys are anything like me, you have a ton of wrapping left to do today. So I wanted to get this video up earlier in the morning so we could just wrap together, just have like some girlfriend chat. Usually when I'm wrapping presents, John is right there sleeping on the couch and I'm right there on the floor with all the presents trying to get them all done, watching The Family Man. That is what I always watch every year when I wrap. But I thought it'd be better to have some company. So if you're looking for some company, I'm looking for some company, so stick around. All right, so first things first, if you have to hit the pause button, go get all your supplies, let's hang out and chit chat. If you're new here, I'm really sorry. This is a really bad first video because I'm really not talking about anything of substance that I know of. That could change, I could just start rambling. But welcome anyway. If you are a returning subscriber, thanks for hanging out with me today. This is gonna be fun, wrapping presents with each other. One thing that I want you guys to do though, please do this for me so it's not so weird to me. Answer my questions as I ask them in the comments. That means you might be leaving multiple comments because it doesn't want to YouTube doesn't want to let you save a comment and whatever. So just answer my questions. I want to know, I want to interact while we're doing this. I thought about doing this live, but there are too many variables in my life that could go really, really long, specifically, could go really, really wrong, specifically like toddlers who don't like pants and 6-year-olds who sometimes don't like pants. So anyway, I just decided I better just film this regular and then have everybody comment. So leave a lot of comments so I can read them throughout the day as well. I would love to chit chat with y'all. All right, I just put all of the little supplies in this caboodle for Bella, and I was gonna wrap them individually and then put them in the caboodle, but who has time for that? Okay, dokes. I did ask you guys on Instagram, I might have already said this, I can't remember, if you had any specific things you wanted to talk about, if I ran out of topics, and so I may get to some of those because I'm a little, being improvising here is a little petrifying for me, but we're gonna see. Oh, where's my scissors? Did I just have them? Ugh, come on. Okay, hold. I'm gonna go find my scissors. All right, found them. I was blaming my kids for a good while on that one. Oh, also, I know the floor is messy, so the few of you who feel like pointing that out to me, I know, don't worry, I got it. Okay, so I think I was in the middle of telling you for the 4th time that I asked you guys questions on Instagram, so I may get around to some of those questions, but first, I want to chit chat about Vlogmas this year because I'm so happy about how it went this year. Up until I don't even know, November 25th, wasn't gonna do it. And then I just got so excited about some of our traditions and the things that we do. And I was just like, I literally can't do December without my friends on YouTube. So I decided to do it. And I think this year was the best year ever. You guys will have to let me know what you thought about this year's Vlogmas. If you can tell a difference, personally in my demeanor in my videos, if that makes sense. I kind of took it this year if I make it every day, I'll make it every day. If I don't, I don't. If my family is suffering because of my work schedule, then it's gonna be on the chopping block. And something about that attitude changed my ability to put out content that I really love and that I was proud of. And also that approach was super helpful to me in not trying to present perfectionism, and that's something that I never really am trying to do, but it's hard. It's hard to film your life in HD, including your dirty table, and not try to fabricate a little bit, if that makes sense. Unintentional, but it's a natural thing to not want to look totally awful when you're putting things out there. And so something that I noticed towards the end of Vlogmas, I don't know, last year or the year prior, was that it felt like a personal struggle as far as things like that. And so this year, being able to just kind of take it as it went, some things I had pre-filmed, some things I I did on the fly. Some things that I filmed weren't on my original schedule, which I'm happy about, other than that it, you know, pushed off some of the other things that were on my schedule. And so those things I can't really repeat this year because they were Christmassy, but I'll start making a list for next year. Speaking of list, my brother and I used to make fun of my mom so bad because she kept this list, this numbered list, when we were opening Christmas presents of what, wait, is this not my, what is going on with my life today? I don't know where, oh, wow, that was weird. I started in the middle of the notebook. Okay, she kept this list going and she would number every label, like the to and from labels. She would put a little number in the corner and she would number it in the order that we had to open it in. And I always thought that was so funny, and we would like poke fun at her like, Mom, can we open number 3 before we open number 2? And here I am making lists, but I'm not having them open it in any order. I just need to know what's what so I can at least have them open their main gifts last. Do you guys have any kind of system when it comes to wrapping? Like, I thought that like wrap each person's present in a different wrapping paper was such a good idea, but I do too many like family gifts, like board games that are for everyone, so I couldn't figure out how to do that. Pause the video and let me know how you guys wrap your presents. Okay, next. This is gonna be a weird one to wrap. Anywho, speaking of wrapping, one of the earliest arguments John and I got in when we had kids was, ooh, that's a close fit, but I think I'm gonna make it happen, was whether or not you're supposed to wrap stocking stuffers. And so the first year we didn't wrap them at all, and I did not approve of that after it just didn't feel right to me. The second year we wrapped everything, and like I said, John usually takes a nice nap on the couch, then I hated myself for letting that happen. And so now we're kind of like 50-50. Like, we'll wrap some of the stocking stuffers that maybe cost a little more, and then things like candy, because my mom would wrap candy. Things like candy and toothbrushes, you know, a couple things we'll let kind of stick out of the top. And that's a good, happy medium for me. I guess I'm the only one who it really matters to anymore because, like I said, John usually takes a nice little Christmas Eve nap. But, wow, I'm really glad you guys can't see exactly how I'm wrapping because I definitely have the 11th hour wrapping style happening right now. Anyway, so do you guys wrap your stockings? First of all, do you even do stockings? Because I have, I've had people say they do like a Christmas Eve bowl, and then some people, you know, their family does the stockings instead of the parents. I know that's how some people do Easter baskets as well. So do you guys do stockings? And if so, do you wrap them? Or, you know, what did your family do? Do you follow whatever your family did when you were a kid? Or how does that go? All right, let me see what I'm gonna wrap next. Just get all the really awkwardly shaped ones out of the way right away. Anyway, I think I mentioned that I watch The Family Man every year when I wrap. I also watch The Breakfast Club because that's super Christmassy. One of my favorite Christmas movies is Four Christmases. Or I at least think it's my favorite, and then I start watching it and I'm like, this is dumb, I don't want to watch this anymore. So let me know if you guys have a tradition. When I was like a teenager, my brother and I started watching Jingle All the Way, and so I saw that on TV the other day and I was like, oh man, you guys are gonna love this movie. Like, John used to work for UPS, and so it's kind of funny how it's like a postal worker. I'm like, oh, you guys are gonna love this movie. And I didn't realize that it's such an adults-only movie. And so after like 10 minutes, I'm like, no, we can't watch this movie right now. So I don't even know if I'm gonna have a chance to rewatch that one. I'm trying to think what other movies. Oh, for the longest time, and this is another one that's not necessarily like a Christmas movie, but Serendipity, because it starts at Christmas time and it ends at Christmas time, I think. John and I would have this annual Serendipity date night back. We probably had 2 kids at the time, so we had time for cute little seasonal themed date nights. But we would watch Serendipity every year. and we would make frozen hot chocolate because we live in Florida, so it's fine to have something frozen this time of the year. And, oh no, I just did my nails. Ah, don't stick to me. I just did the Color Street nails. I don't know if it's gonna focus at all. And the tape just stuck to me, so anywho. But yeah, we used to watch that every year. And then after like 6 or 7 years, I just got sick of it. And I haven't been able, I like the idea of it. And I like, you know, some of like the little things we'll say to each other like from the movie, but I can't stomach the idea of like watching the actual movie again because I'm so over it. Oop, I wrapped the scissors with this one. So yeah, let me know if you guys have traditional movies that you watch. Now, one of the topics that you guys sent to me, actually I know this person very well from talking to her online, was how I survived peak season, because if you are newish here, then you probably don't know, but if you're not new, you remember all my ranting and raving from years past. I wasn't super negative about it until that very last year. John used to work for UPS, and he worked for them for about 12 years. And hold on one second. There will probably be awkward pauses because I have to write. My girlfriends did, one of my girlfriends hosted this wrapping and appetizer party about a week ago, I want to say, and it was so much fun. Like, we all brought an appetizer or two, and whatever our Christmas to-do list was. So she was wrapping, I think, stocking stuffers, and I brought a bunch of stuff to wrap, which I really appreciated the company. And one of my girlfriends, I think she was like addressing Christmas cards or cutting out flashcards, math flashcards at one point, because we all homeschool together, so that's a typical Christmas activity. Anyway, and the other one was like online shopping on Amazon while we were just sitting there and hanging out. Anyway, I kept getting distracted, and so on these little labels, I would write, instead of writing the kid's name, I just would write what it was. So twice I wrote 2 Play-Doh. Another time I wrote 2 Rock and Gem, because I was doing like the Rock and Gem dig kit, because I would get confused when I was like going to write it in my little notebook here and when I was writing it on the label. So 2 Play-Doh from Mom. Anywho, so what was I saying? Yes, that John used to work for UPS, and that was a tough season of life. It wasn't so bad like the first few years, but the last 2 years, so that would have been when did he leave? He left in like February of 2018, so last February. So it would have been Christmas 2016 and Christmas 2017 that in between those 2 Christmases, peak like never slowed down because they were having staffing issues at our local office. Holy moly, like it started around October of 2016. He would be working 14-hour days. That was the max they could have you on. And somehow they would like renew his week at a certain point. Even if it was like, I don't know how it worked. Like some weeks were like 6-day weeks and then some weeks were 8-day. I don't know how it worked out, but it worked out to where he was working about 70 hours a week, and we just didn't like, first of all, obviously he needs a job. Like we're not like, we can't like live with no income, but it was more than our cost of living for the job he was working at. And that's usually like a great blessing, but at the cost of, who knows what I just wrapped? I think I know what I just wrapped. This is the other thing that happens to me a lot. It wasn't worth the sacrifice that we were making to our family. And he had another option. Obviously, he would have stayed there if he didn't have another option, but he had the option of partnering with his dad's business. It was something that would have happened eventually, most likely, that, you know, one day when his dad wanted to retire, he would probably have taken over some of the responsibility. And so it just kind of came about that it was an option on the table, and so we went for it. And that made that very last Christmas, 2017, almost like extra difficult because he knew he was leaving. He hadn't told me yet. He didn't tell me until January. He wanted to make sure he had, you know, his pension worked out and his 401k rolled over, and he wanted to have like all the answers for me before he threw it out there, because I'm a planner and a panicker, and I think he knew, like, if he just like sprung that info on me, I would have struggled. So that was very wise of him. But anyway, he knew it was his last Christmas season, so he wasn't necessarily super excited about the late hours because he was in his mind already out the door. So him not being, so usually like for years and years, 12 years, it was like, you know, we knew Christmas season was going to be tough, but we just went with it because this was his job and it's, you know, was our life and we were used to it. He'd been working UPS. He started working UPS my senior year of high school, I want to say. He had graduated a couple years prior, and so our dating relationship, our early marriage, then like raising babies, it was all those long, long hours, and we were very much used to it. But when he started to like dislike it, was around the same time that it started wearing me out. And I think like you can be really positive about something until you start hearing from so many people like, how are you doing? You hanging in there? How are these hours? That must be hard. And eventually when you hear that a lot, it's like, wait, am I doing okay? Wait, these hours are really hard. And so that got in our heads for those last couple years, but especially that last year, because he knew he was done, or he at least wanted to be done, and he was hoping this career change would work out. But there was still a possibility that it wouldn't, or, you know, that I wouldn't be on board with it or something. And so that last year was really tough because mentally we just weren't in a really great place with it. And I'm almost embarrassed looking back because I complained a lot on Instagram because it was like midnight when he was getting home, and toward the last few weeks of that last season, the kids didn't see him. I mean, it was pretty common in the 2 weeks before Christmas. Like, he would leave for work, say, on a Tuesday morning at like 8, and the kids would be up already, but then you're out doing Christmas activities, and so the kids would sleep in till 8 maybe, and they would miss him leaving the next day. They had gone to bed before he got home, and that would happen for a few days. And there were some Fridays where I would just, that's why I used to do so many intentional like family movie nights, because I would just load them up with sugar and like let them stay up as late as they could, because all they wanted to do was see their daddy. And so it would be like days between sometimes, but like Tuesday to Friday was the common amount of time they wouldn't see him. So that's when some of my bad habits started to form. Let me restart this real quick. I can tell it's about to time out. So as I was saying, that's when some of my bad habits started to form, and I was no longer like thriving during the season. I was just surviving, and that was like trying to fabricate joy when nobody was really suffering in my house, but in my head I thought we were. Does that make sense? So, and that's like, honestly, it's not even my place, and something I'm learning now, because now it's almost this detox of like all these traditions I had started and all these things that I had done. And now that John is home during our holiday season and can do those things with us, you know, my kids and myself, we still want to do these traditions, but like there's not a need for it anymore. And then, you know, so then it's just like empty traditions. I don't know, I don't know if that makes any sense, but essentially I would catch wind of like my kids not being happy, or maybe they were like overwhelmed by things we were doing, but I would think like, oh my gosh, it's because their dad's not here. And then I would try to like create good moments, and how we would do more and we would do more, and I would make like all these things really special. And there's nothing wrong with making things special, but there is something wrong with it when it's at the cost, like your emotional cost. My kids, they didn't struggle with it. Like, they love all the fun things we did, but I wasn't necessarily emotionally present because I was physically just wearing myself down. Like, on this day we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do this. And then I was doing Vlogmas and things like that, and none of those things in and of themselves were bad, and my intentions weren't bad, but I see it, like in hindsight, I see it as being like a lack of faith that God's grace would fill those gaps of, yeah, they miss their dad, but it's okay for them to miss their dad. Like, you know, I have to let those be teachable moments for them. Maybe, you know, maybe they would have like missed him every Christmas if he didn't leave, but as adults, you know, God uses those things in their lives, and I was here and he was here. It wasn't like I had to make up for something. So taking that pressure on myself those last couple of years, I think it changed the dynamic. It was no longer just intentional, it was like forceful. Does that make sense? So I'm seeing that in hindsight, because now John's home and we're trying to do all these things, and it's kind of like we're learning how to rest, and it feels weird to me. It feels really good, but it feels really weird at the same time. Sorry, I can't think and talk at the same time. I'm gonna write the wrong thing. At the same time, you know, he's also learning how to participate in things that he's not used to. So it's a learning curve for both of us. It makes for some fun conversation as we both try to learn a good balance, because it can't be all what I want to do. It can't be all what he wants to do. We're trying to learn the balance. Last year felt like, last year felt more like other years, because when John would be working those hours, he would randomly get off of work early, and on those nights we would all want to go do something really special. I remember one year it was like he got off really early. I had to go to Payless to get shoes for the boys, and so he's like, I'll go with you. And I remember thinking, like, you will? Like, you want to go with us? So it felt so special, so holiday spirit that he was coming with us to the store, because that was like a huge novelty at the time for him to like be with us on a weeknight, even if it was just shopping or running errands. There they are. And so we like went to Chick-fil-A and we ate inside the restaurant, and those days, I remember them so clearly, even though they were like 2 years ago and more now, but we never ate inside places. I was just like constantly flying by the seat of my pants, never resting, never like taking the time to like soak in the moments, because if I stopped, felt like everything would fall apart. And it was just so hard. And so I remember like being inside the restaurant and looking over, and I think I probably cried that night. Not typically super emotional, but just seeing him in normal clothes, being in a restaurant with my kids. My kids were happy to be eating chicken nuggets because their dad was there. Going to the shoe store, like, it just felt so happy. And so last Christmas season almost felt like that the whole season, because it was like everything was so exciting. Not that we're not excited that he's with us, but I'm getting to my point here. Everything felt like so exciting and fun, and just so special. And that was good. It was a good year. But now I feel like the first year was just like weird to have him home. And now this last entire calendar year has just kind of been like reestablishing goals and parenting, you know, from this perspective of it's not just one parent and then one parent who's sometimes here. And so this last year we've really like settled into our new reality, and that has not come without some bumps in the road, because it's definitely like, you know, where last year was fun, we cannot keep up with that kind of a schedule. And there's a second parent here now to say, Abby, this is crazy, like we're doing way too much. How we communicate that to one another is key, and it doesn't always go perfectly smoothly. I'll just throw that one out there, because I'm defensive, and you know, he's exhausted because he's not used to the holiday schedule. He's like, what are we doing today? Like, good morning, here's your coffee. What's on the schedule today? And then I'll be like, oh, well, you know, we just used to always do this stuff, and you don't have to be a part of it, and then it's just not good. So just saying, it's not always like fa la 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 when it's Christmas time here. But, you know, we both have to learn. We're both learning. It's been a little tough communication-wise this year, but we're getting somewhere, even if it's in a little bit of a rocky way. But yeah, so I think it was nice, because when I set my goals, I'll link them up here, maybe if I remember. When I set my goals earlier this month, I said my goal with traditions are to not force the traditions. And I really was thinking that was more for my daughter's sake, because she really wants to like do all these traditions, because she's been doing them her whole life. You know, this is her 11th Christmas. And as far back as she can remember, we've done these things. And what I'm not wanting for her is for her to be 30 and have kids and be tired and not give herself the permission to chill out, because her mom at one point was 30 and tired and didn't give herself permission to chill out. So sometimes I don't respect myself, you know, enough, but I want my kids to respect themselves as adults. Dude, I super don't know what this one was. I'm gonna have to rewatch the footage of this one. Yeah. And I'm wanting my kids to respect their adult selves, but that doesn't happen, you know, by accident. They have to see it. And so sometimes that's gonna happen because, you know, I had to, for my kids' sake, I'm still talking to you from afar, but for my kids' sake, I had to learn to chill out so that they would give themselves grace one day. So that's my hope, is that they will learn that, and I hope, you know, we kind of got a crash course in it just because, you know, John came home and was like, that was great in that season of life, but we don't have to do every single Christmas thing anymore. And it's like, okay. The other reason I would do all those things wasn't just to like fabricate joy, but it was because I was tired and I couldn't let myself be tired. So I would just like, we would do school and then we would go out, we'd like look at lights, we'd go shopping, we'd do this. A lot of the traditions that I started were just because I needed something to do. So I'd like get on Pinterest or like secret sibling shopping, or you know, my mom and I used to go down to this one particular mall that we liked, and we would always eat at this restaurant and things like that, because I would just go out and stay out until I knew my kids were tired and really, really pray they'd fall asleep on the way home, because it was so hard. Like that last Christmas, I had, you know, an 8, 5, 3-year-old and a 6-month-old. And it was 7 days a week, 12 to 14-hour days. And it was just really hard because, and the other thing too was the timing didn't line up very well. He wouldn't like leave at 6 a.m. and then be home by 8. Like at some point you could maybe salvage the evening, but he'd leave at like 7:30 or 8. And then he'd get home at like 10, 11, 12. So like it was all those like daytime hours that he was gone for. And so it was really hard. So I would just go out and hope to God that they would fall asleep on their way home. But they don't remember, you know, that I took them to the point of exhaustion. They just remember that we did all those things. And so they're always wanting to still do all those things. So that's why we've had to like scale back a little bit, because we have to like wean them from the super intense, intentional Christmas spirit Abby that was their mom for all those years. Because like the real me deep down is like, let's just all put on pajamas and pop some popcorn and watch all the Christmas movies. And I'm actually like more of a stay inside and chill kind of person than I'm perceived to be, but that's my love language. We're like weaning our kids toward that direction. Okay, that's enough about UPS, but I feel for you. I feel for you. When I learned a lot about, you know, just how much guts you moms have. Any single moms, military families. I cannot imagine like how difficult that is, but I feel like I maybe got a taste for it, and so I have this total respect for families who are in that position, because man, it was not an easy season of life, and I know I still had it 10 times better. So I really appreciate the sacrifices that you guys make, you know, intentionally. I'm hot. It's really hot. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to ski, I know, I'm not excited to ski, don't be fooled. I don't like snow, I don't like the idea of cold, I don't like layers. I love heat. I love when it's like 90 and hot in Florida and it's so hot in your car, and I swear to you, I say that in July when it's hot and like everybody's complaining. I'm like, isn't it a beautiful day? But I'm really excited for my kids to find out that we're skiing. More so than I am for the actual skiing. And as time goes on, I realize that I don't know anything that I need to bring with us. So if you guys are in a northern climate, please tell me what I need to bring, because somebody the other day, one of my girlfriends is on a ski trip as well, and she texted me and she was like, hey, I have some extra neck warmers. I have some extra neck warmers for your kids. I have some extra neck warmers. Do you have any for your kids? If not, I have some that'll fit your girls. And I was like, oh, neck warmers. I don't know what that is. Do I need those? Or what else do I need? So give me the deets, guys, in the comments below. Like, what are the extra things that I'm probably not thinking of? I've got their coats, their snow bib things. I've got all the waterproof gloves and hats and scarves. Do I need like ski masks for them? Can I rent their helmets at the place, or do I need to bring them? I know some, it's like 50-50 maybe, I don't know. Do they need the goggles? Those aren't too expensive. I can grab them on Amazon before we leave still. I'm gonna get boots at like the Walmart up there because we're only gonna be there for a week, and so I don't feel like I need to like invest in boots, and they do not sell snow boots down in South Florida anywhere. So I thought, okay, if we're only gonna need them for a week, I can probably just go to Walmart and get some like not super fancy ones. The coats and things like that, I bought some nicer ones because, you know, they run a little big, and so I know like when we take the kids next year, they'll still fit them. So I felt like that was a decent investment to make, as well as the fact that they'll be passed on. But I don't pass shoes between my kids. Shoes are like, my kids are Florida kids, so their feet are always dirty, as you guys are probably well aware from my videos, and stinky, and shoes don't last long enough to be passed down here. So I thought I would just get some cheaper shoes up there, you know, that we're only gonna use for a week. So, but what else do I need? What am I missing? What is this before okay, Play-Doh kitchen creations. Go ahead and let me know in the comments below what I'm probably forgetting, and my kids will thank. Anyway, I was saying my kids will thank you later when they're not absolutely freezing to death. So let me know down below. Okay, I was able to just clear out an extra 8 minutes on this memory card before I need to edit videos for today and tomorrow. So we're getting somewhere. I'm talking a lot longer than I expected to. Okay, what other things did you guys want to talk about? Trying to remember. My phone's charging right now, but I do remember some of them coming. Oh, somebody wanted to know, and this is probably a good time to put it in there. What is that noise? Oh, okay, the lawn guy. Somebody wanted to know how I ended up in Florida from Chicago. And that's a good question, considering that I am acting like I know nothing about snow. But I think what I did was I just blocked it out when I moved here, and now I'm pretending like I'm just a native Floridian. No, just kidding. I was a kid when I lived in Florida. Let me see. To Annie, not to Play-Doh. This one is not to Play-Doh. So I lived in Illinois, in North Chicago. I was born up there actually. And then when I was around 6, so my dad is a nuclear contractor, or he was for a really long time. And so he would travel. And so it didn't really matter where we lived. So, you know, our roots were in the same neighborhood as my grandma and my grandpa and all of my aunts and uncles up in the suburbs of Chicago. Beautiful, teeny tiny little town, storybook town. Not gonna say it here because, you know, I like to keep some parts of my life private, but I just absolutely adore that quaint little town. Anywho, so when my grandmother and my aunt owned a little southern breakfast and lunch restaurant down here in central-ish Florida, and so when I was 6, we moved here for a year because my uncle was very sick and they needed help running the restaurant. And because of my dad's job, like I said, we could really live anywhere. So we moved down here. Nobody knew how long it was gonna be for. We ended up here for about 1.5 years. And when my uncle passed away, they ended up selling the restaurant, and then we moved back up to Chicago for a few years. Now, the interesting thing is we did live in this town before. The house that John and I bought that you see right now is down the street from the house that I lived in when I was 6, which is really funny. Same street and everything. And now my father-in-law lives down the same street, which is just funny because if I would have known, like, it's just, how can you even know those things? So I moved back up to Illinois when I was like 7.5, I want to say, and lived there until I was basically done with elementary school. Moved to Miami because my dad's goal was always to, I think that one of the nuclear plants, he wanted to be stationary in one nuclear plant. And the one nuclear plant he wanted to be stationary in is the one that we live near, that he works at now, where he's about to retire from. Now, this is a long story. I'm sorry. Keep wrapping your presents. You can mute me if you want to, but if you're interested, keep listening. So in order to work here, there's like a long wait list to get in here, even if you work within the business. So the best way in is to go work at the Miami power plant and just wait until you can get in at an entry-level position. And I really appreciate what my dad did, especially in hindsight. No, don't die, battery. Because he sacrificed a lot of pay and a higher position to get in at an entry-level position when he was 20 years from retiring, essentially. So we lived in Miami. We didn't know how long it would be for. I ended up there for all of middle school, and then he got in. It was one of my last days of 8th grade that he got into this position, and we moved up. I didn't even finish my last couple weeks because I really disliked living in Miami so much, and we moved up here. I finished the year, like 2 weeks of the year at the middle school here, and then started high school, and I met John like within a year of being in the high school here. So that's how we met. That answers the second question, and how we ended up staying in the town that we are in right now. So there's that. And so yes, I have been in Florida, like what did I say? I was like 11. All of middle school, all of high school, and then my, forever. I never left the state after that. I did my college here, everything. So I don't know, like, has it been like 20 years? I guess so. That doesn't seem right, but it must be. Yeah, it has. Okay, well, my battery's gonna die. I'm gonna leave you with that. I hope you got some of your wrapping done. I hope I didn't annoy you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Be sure to come back tomorrow. My video tomorrow is not Christmas themed, but it is a big one. And so I'm gonna put it up later because I don't want anybody obviously watching it Christmas morning, not that I think anybody would. So it's probably gonna go up around like 4 o'clock tomorrow. And be sure to come back for that because it's really special to me. It's kind of a big announcement on my channel. And so come back for that. Make sure you're subscribed. I will see you guys later. Have a great Christmas Eve with your family. Last question I want you to answer below. What are your Christmas Eve plans and what are your Christmas Eve traditions? I would love to know. I will see you guys later. Bye, friends.